On tap for today's show, Ben Simmons set to make his return to Philadelphia on Thursday. Kind of. Tyrese Maxey on an all-time heater. James Harden talks about the signing of DeAndre Jordan. And lastly, I'm going to give a shout out to those who gave me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. But before we start, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay in the know with all things Sixers. We are the fastest growing Sixers channel on YouTube, and we're only getting started. So hit that red subscribe button, and let's start today's show. All right, you're watching Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We start off with 2-5. Big Baby Ben set to make his return to Philadelphia on Thursday at the Wells Fargo Center following that trade that included Ben Simmons going to Brooklyn in exchange for James Harden. Now, Simmons is going to be at the arena, most likely. He is not going to play. So unfortunately, Philadelphia not going to be able to let Ben Simmons know that he never took accountability for anything, doesn't have any self-awareness, and that he choked in the second round series against the Atlanta Hawks. According to Shams Charania, Simmons is going to continue to rehabilitate that back injury, which has held him out of the lineup with the Brooklyn Nets, but he is going to travel on this upcoming road trip with Brooklyn and is expected to be on the bench on Thursday when the Nets and Sixers clash. Now, Ben Simmons has not played for the Nets yet because of the mental health issues. He continues to rehabilitate that back injury, and the Nets right now, they could really use his defensive prowess, sitting at 9th place with a record of 32-33 after a loss against the Boston Celtics, a Celtics team that right now is red hot. As far as Ben Simmons actually being on the bench on Thursday night in Philadelphia, I'll believe it when I see it. If Ben Simmons decides to hold out and he's not on the bench, he's not seen at the Wells Fargo Center in South Philadelphia, will any of us be surprised at all? We're talking about an athlete who is so mentally fragile, an athlete who Philadelphia had his back for several seasons because they realized how great he could be. He just never put the work in to be a great player. You compare Ben Simmons and his trajectory where he really just flatlined with Tyrese Maxey, who in one single season has gotten better in a year, compared to Ben Simmons never getting better at all. Yeah, that goes to tell you and goes to show you the story of Ben Simmons' limitless potential, never tapped into it because I don't think the dude likes basketball, and that's why Philadelphia didn't have his back. And the fact that he was willing to sabotage the Sixers season and sabotage a single season of his career where he's already made it to 3 All-Star games and is still a very, very good player goes to show you what Ben Simmons is all about. So, what will you do if Simmons is on the Nets bench? Will you boo him? Will you cheer him? Type B for boo, C for cheer. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down and get your votes in. And I know a lot of Philly haters out there are typing B for batteries. Sixers upcoming games. So this weekend, really good test to see where this team is at. Awesome win against the Cleveland Cavaliers in which James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid able to lead the comeback charge against the upstart Cavs. Then on the back end of that back-to-back game, James Harden didn't play. First game he sat out because of hamstring maintenance. It was really unfortunate because I wanted to see how the Sixers were able to stack up against the Miami Heat, one of the best teams in the East in my opinion. Sixers went down 99-82. Tonight, going to take on the Chicago Bulls. Another good litmus test as James Harden is expected to play to see how good Philadelphia is. Thursday night, the aforementioned game against the Brooklyn Nets. The 13th against the Orlando Magic. Get to see and check in on Markelle Fultz. And then the next 5 games, it's a pretty tough stretch for Philadelphia. Nuggets, Cavs, Mavs, Raptors, Heat. All of those teams in the thick of playoff races in the Eastern and Western conferences. So while the Sixers have been humming, they're really moving in a momentous fashion following that Ben Simmons-James Harden trade. These 5 games on your screen to my right, they're going to be a really good indication after the Sixers go through this gauntlet of a schedule to see what their potential is in the Eastern Conference. When they're playing well, I truly believe that Philadelphia can come out of the East and make a run at an NBA Finals appearance, but I want to see how their depth holds up. I want to see how Harden goes up against some really good defenses, and I can't wait to see the Joker go up against Joel Embiid as those two players continue to jockey in the NBA MVP race. Boston and Miami, if you look at the Eastern Conference, those are the two teams that concern me the most. Why is that, Chase? Miami, I think, is the most well-rounded team. They have really good depth offensively and defensively. They're mentally tough, which I worry about Philly in that regard, and they have the best coach in the NBA in Eric Spoelstra, and he could run laps around Doc Rivers in a playoff series. As far as Boston, during this turnaround, one of the best defenses. I think they're 22-8 in the calendar year since 2022 turned. They have two wings, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are two of the best young players in the NBA, and you don't want that smoke over the span of a 7-game series. So Boston, Miami, the two teams that concern me and scare me the most when I think about a matchup for Philadelphia, because I think both those teams match up really well with the Sixers. Which team scares you the most in the East? You let me know in the comment section right now. From Ben Simmons, a player who never worked on his game, never took accountability for his failures or his flaws, to Tyrese Maxey, who continues to grow right before our very eyes and has put in a bunch of work to become the player that he is right now. And folks, he is playing unbelievable basketball. It's not sustainable, but I know it's really fun to watch. Against Cleveland on Friday night, he had the Wells Fargo Center going litty. 33 points, 10 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 6 from beyond the arc, 2 steals as he continues to get it done on both ends of the floor, and another second-half outbreak for the second consecutive game for Tyrese Maxey. Stats alongside James Harden, not including the Miami loss. He is just playing at a different level right now, like one of the best two guards in the association. Nearly 27 points per, shooting just a ridiculous 65% from the floor, a white-hot 70% from long range, and everybody thought that because James Harden is so ball-dominant, Tyrese Maxey not going to have as many offensive opportunities hasn't been an issue. 14 field goal attempts playing alongside the Beard. This is what getting in the lab looks like for Tyrese Maxey. His improvements from year 1 to year 2 have been fully on display this year, and he was dealt a pretty difficult situation, and the team was having to deal with the Ben Simmons saga. But Tyrese Maxey has taken full advantage of the opportunity. He stepped in that role for Ben Simmons as the starting point guard for the Philadelphia 76ers, and prior to the acquisition of James Harden, he was averaging around 17 points per game. And after the trade for James Harden, he's been even better, playing lights-out basketball as a two-guard, and he has improved more in one single season than Ben Simmons has throughout his entire career. The questions for Tyrese Maxey going into the NBA draft a couple of years ago: does he have a consistent shot? Are his shot mechanics going to lead to him being an inconsistent shooter? What is his upside and his potential defensively? We knew that he was a good athlete with explosion, but here in year 2, in his sophomore campaign, there has been no sophomore slump for Tyrese Maxey. He's shooting the ball really well from beyond the arc. His lightning quickness and speed in the open floor really is terrific. That explosion and athleticism has really cured some of the Sixers' struggles in the half court, and playing alongside James Harden, he's been a great two-guard just like he was at Kentucky. Tyrese Maxey went into the lab like Ben Simmons never did, worked on his flaws and his weaknesses, and now we have a budding superstar in Philadelphia, in my opinion, the best young athlete in Philadelphia. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for the best Sixers news and rumors. We launched this channel over the summer, already approaching 6,000 subs. I grew up in the Philly area, from Westchester, went to Temple, love talking about this basketball team. And yeah, a lot of people have asked, Chase, what's the best cheesesteak spot in Philly? D'Alessandro's. Don't be a fraud and go to Geno's or Pat's. Those are the tourist destinations. Go to D'Alessandro's or another good spot. Hit that red sub button and subscribe to 76ers Now. We're also giving you really good deals here on the channel as well, like this Philadelphia 76ers Liberty Bell hoodie that's on sale right now. Was $70, knocked down to $42 for the Sixers faithful. Here's the deal, though. In order for that deal to apply, you have to use our link down below thanks to our friends at Fanatics. It's chatsports.com/LibertyBell because of the Liberty Bell insignia right on the front of the hoodie. You can cop that now and get $18 off. I failed elementary algebra at Temple University. I studied journalism. I talk for a living. I'm going to put that link in the comments section as well as the description of this video. Producer Jeremy telling me it's $28 off. See, I told you I'm bad at math. This is what I do know. The deal's hot. Get it right now. Chatsports.com/LibertyBell. James Harden was asked about the acquisition of DeAndre Jordan and had some interesting things to say. A lot of the similar things that we have talked about here on the channel. And Harden obviously has familiarity playing alongside DeAndre Jordan because they were teammates in Brooklyn. And the organization in Philadelphia has familiarity with DJ because DJ played with Doc Rivers with the Los Angeles Clippers. James Harden saying this about DJ. I think he fits in well with us. He's a vet that's been on some really good teams, and it feels like he hasn't accomplished his goal yet as far as winning a championship, so he has an opportunity to do that here. Same can be said for James Harden, by the way. The system is pretty easy. Just go out there, rebound the basketball, communicate defensively, and we'll do a good job of getting him the ball for some easy dunks, but he has the right mindset. And that's basically what I've said since that report came out last week from Woj about DeAndre Jordan after getting waived by the Lakers going to Philadelphia. At the very least, he can still jump. He can still be a lob threat. He can be a decent backup to Joel Embiid. If he's playing around 13 minutes per night like he was with the Lakers and he's giving you 4 and 5 while shooting around 67.5% right around the hoop, then that's pretty solid. Familiarity with Doc Rivers. He's played with James Harden, so that two-man game can work in Philadelphia with the Sixers, and if he can block some shots, run the floor, give you athleticism, and give you a couple minutes per night that are productive, then the signing makes sense for the Sixers. Do you expect him to do anything, though? Because he didn't do much for the Lakers, and that pass last week to Wayne Ellington when it just sailed into the stands, that was brutal. I don't want to see him doing that in a Sixers uniform, but hey, do you expect him to do anything? Let me know. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Once again, DeAndre's in Philly now. You sound off in the comments section. Now, last week, I had said on the show, whoever gives me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, I'm going to give y'all a shout out on Monday's show. And here at Chat Sports, we're all about the audience interaction, so I'm going to live up to my word and give those shout outs who gave me a follow first on Twitter. Kai Mark, Detective B, Meng1969, Travis Ferguson, Mitch Kofsky, The General, Daniel Rodriguez, Robert Spears, Che Barker, Andy, Sammy O, Joe Zhu, Jeff Ellermeyer, Coach Jason Brown from the Netflix show, Majesty, Javier Vega, Paul Hope, Hank, RLDN, PDX Faithful, NNP, Fahad, Himsey, Stewart, Yuri, Samo Boy, Ryan Brodo, Jake Gall, Ace Barnes, Guy Rudiger, Jonathan, Javier, Rob Swinga, Eddie Fielden, Kyle Casterline. That's all on Twitter. A lot of people showed out to show me some love. I'm greatly appreciative of that. Somehow I'm verified. I was able to get in the good graces of Jack, and he's no longer the CEO of Twitter. Yvonne, Galvin, Calvin, Ava, Bruda, Jack Rahal, Lil Moore, 71 Peter Rock, Timmer T, Justin Crispy, Cade Gardner, Tony Merkeloff, Sella, Jonathan, Trap God Sour, Bobby Wiggles, Bermudashi, Beats in General, Hunter, Forever Silent, Love Crushed, and Treasure. Thanks to all of you for hitting me up, giving me some love on Twitter and Instagram. And hey, on my Twitter feeds, I'm always tweeting about the Sixers. Find the hottest takes on my social media pages at Chase_Senior. Same handle on both. Look forward to interacting with all of you. Subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching today's show.